Hi guys, welcome to our channel. A man with a heroic but bitter past leaves the United States to escape his hell. But destiny takes him to a country where he becomes a prisoner of a wild, crazy, and bloodthirsty family. Check the title of the movie in the description.
Aaliyah!
The film opens with a horrible scene set in Finland, where a young girl named Aaliyah is pursued by a group of men through a dense forest. Surprisingly, the individuals pursuing Aaliyah are none other than her own family. She bravely leaps into the lake, only to be rescued by one of the determined men just in the nick of time. Next, the story takes us to a bank, where we find a man named Rex patiently waiting in line for a specific reason. He is definitely not there as a customer, but it becomes evident that his presence is motivated by his infatuation with her girlfriend, Maddie. During their conversation, the bank is unexpectedly assaulted by criminals who quickly eliminate a bank security guard. Consequently, the once peaceful situation has now escalated into tension. In a tense moment, Rex's attention is drawn to a firearm discreetly tucked away in a woman's bag. However, the woman cannot take any action, fully aware of the immense risk involved in such a perilous situation. Amid danger, Rex's behavior takes an unexpected turn as he struggles to keep his emotions in check, determined not to make impulsive decisions. However, a surprising turn of events occurs when the woman's bag, which happens to contain a gun, is unexpectedly hurled through the air and lands directly in Rex's hands. Following that, the story takes us to a court. It seems like Rex finds himself in a rather unexpected predicament as the judge takes legal action against him for his heroic actions in thwarting the bank robbers. Although he was hailed as a hero for his actions during the incident, he was ultimately sentenced to 8 years.
The DA's offered 8 years.
After a long wait, Rex is released from prison and captivated by a magazine featuring no other than his own face. According to the magazine, he is still regarded as a hero because of his courageous deeds 8 years ago. Once Rex is released from prison, he finds himself constantly in the spotlight, with the public and reporters always on his tail. At this point, Rex experiences discomfort as an unfamiliar aspect of his existence materializes in the real world. His alternate persona possesses a heightened emotional disposition compared to his true self. In a moment of frustration, Rex's patience reaches its breaking point, and he abruptly rises from his seat and hurls the restaurant table toward the entire group. However, it's merely a product of his vivid imagination, serving as a cathartic outlet for his overwhelming emotions caused by his present state of stress. Despite he being widely regarded as a hero, some individuals still do not appreciate his heroic endeavors and instead view him negatively. Rex visits his friend and expresses his frustration with his current life situation. He feels overwhelmed by people's constant attention and interest in him. Consequently, he decides to bid farewell to his current city and embark on a new chapter in Finland. Furthermore, Rex's motivation for traveling to Finland is remarkably logical. While in prison, he managed to shoot a spitball that miraculously landed in Finland. Next, the story takes us to a dense forest where we witness a thrilling chase as a man desperately tries to escape from a group of relentless pursuers. The people who are chasing this man seem to be the same ones who were chasing Aaliyah. The incident unfolds in Finland, which happens to be Rex's next destination. He is suddenly yanked away by a formidable creature, emitting a dreadful sound. Rex finds himself at the airport, where he encounters the all-too-familiar presence of a man recording his every move. In addition, Rex becomes aware of a relatively old couple closely watching him mysteriously. A man joins him and warns him that he heard they would arrest him for their son. However, Rex ignores him. As the commotion escalates and cameras start rolling, his frustration grows, and he retreats to the restroom. Interestingly, that man happens to be in there, fixated on Rex, as he relieves himself, and Rex's subconscious makes fun of how scared he is. As Rex takes his seat, he is met with a chilling smile from the wife of the peculiar couple. As Rex finds himself in Finland, he patiently awaits a taxi, unaware of the watchful eyes of a nearby cab driver. Abruptly, the taxi driver skillfully maneuvers through the congested line of taxis and comes to an abrupt halt directly in front of him. During a taxi ride, Rex suddenly finds himself overwhelmed by an anesthetic gas released by the driver. As a result, he loses consciousness and eventually succumbs to its effects. The scene then shifts to a cozy house, where a family is shown busy preparing dinner, while the space of the house is very mysterious. Aaliyah, who is now a young girl, is reading a storybook in English to her little brother, Ollie, while strange and scary sounds are heard. Shockingly, Rex finds himself in a dire situation with his hands bound and one of his legs tragically amputated. Faced with his subconscious, Rex attempts to let out a scream, but he stops and advises him to remain silent. Later on, he helps Rex find a way to let out his pent-up emotions by encouraging him to scream about the traumatic events he has experienced. It seems that his subconscious outsmarts him in terms of sadistic tendencies, exerting a significant influence on both Rex's life. He has a keen ability to analyze the situation of any incident that happens to Rex, including the one currently unfolding. Upon careful observation, it becomes clear to him that the individuals responsible for his current predicament are none other than the peculiar husband and wife duo he encountered at the airport. As Rex becomes overwhelmed by his subconscious, he becomes increasingly restless and desperately seeks a way to escape. Despite the constraints on his actions, his subconscious has different ideas for guaranteeing his survival. In addition, upon observing a multitude of bicycles in his vicinity, his subconscious that the individuals who abducted him are, in fact, a family. Meanwhile, the entire family has already retired for the night upstairs. But Ollie is still awake and curious about their latest victim. Rex attempts to free himself in a desperate frenzy by gnawing at the rope. Meanwhile, the young boy ventures into the basement without anyone knowing, where Rex has been captive. He cautiously enters the warehouse, only to find Rex motionless and pretending to be unconscious. Rex discovers that the unexpected visitor is actually a young child. To secure his escape, he devises a clever scheme to use the child as leverage. He attempts to convince him to approach him, only to deliver a powerful kick to his face using his amputated leg and then traps him between both of his thighs. Shortly after, Aaliyah becomes aware that her brother is missing from his bed, prompting her to venture into the basement in search of him. While Aaliyah covers her eyes, she enters the basement and moments later she realizes that Ollie is now in the grip of him. However, due to Rex's overwhelming panic about his safety, he inadvertently releases him, losing his only means of escape. The family learns of Ollie's serious injury and Aaliyah falsely admits that he fell off the bed. After Ollie falls unconscious, the distraught family rushes him to the hospital. Her mother delivers a swift slap to Aaliyah under the mistaken belief that she has harmed him. Based on the events, it seems clear that Aaliyah possesses a unique disposition compared to her relatives, making her a potential lifeline for Rex's escape. Her face lights up with a smile as she envisions a future with Rex, hinting at an instant attraction between them. She rushes downstairs without hesitation to attend to Rex's injured leg, knowing that her family is in the hospital. Aaliyah proceeds to share her emotions with Rex. At this juncture, she proceeds to recount the narrative of how her family embarked on a disturbing practice of abducting individuals and utilizing them as sustenance for her older brother. Ever since her big brother was born, he has been plagued by a disorder that compels him to crave and consume human flesh. Even he began biting his father as he was a baby. After that incident, her family started abducting people to fulfill her eldest brother's insatiable appetite, even though Aaliyah strongly disagreed with their actions. To satisfy his terrible appetite, the family was constantly looking for a new victim to provide him with meat perfectly suited to his taste. Aaliyah's life was plagued by a relentless cycle of death, night after night. Desperate to escape her family, she made countless attempts to break free. However, they consistently managed to locate Aaliyah, ultimately capturing her and confining her within a wooden cage constructed by her own uncle. As she recounts the tale, a sense of remorse washes over her. She gently places the knife on the floor and implores Rex to handle it himself. However, just as Rex finally gets his hands on it and attempts to sever the rope, Aaliyah's two brothers and her uncle's sudden and unexpected arrival throw a wrench in his plans. They waste no time in making it clear that they have every intention of swiftly carrying out Rex's execution. Rex cleverly feigns unconsciousness, successfully thwarting the brothers' intentions. Meanwhile, his subconscious appears incredibly furious and is determined to bring their lives to a close. They come across Rex's leg, which has already been bandaged, prompting them to quickly search for Aaliyah in her room. However, it is revealed that Aaliyah has been concealing herself in the basement, desperately attempting to escape from her confinement. Her brothers return to the basement after realizing that she is not in her bed. Regrettably, her brothers return to the location and escort her upstairs, and Rex is given an injection by her uncle, which causes him to faint immediately. In a flashback to 8 years ago, Rex heroically decides to confront the criminals. Rex's sheer brutality is revealed as he mercilessly eliminates all the robbers. It becomes evident that his subconscious took hold of him at that moment, and with a shocking display of brutality, he emerges as a hero in the eyes of everyone present. In the thrilling climax, Rex fearlessly disregards the potential consequences as he valiantly attempts to rescue his beloved and kill the robber. After Maddie's release, Rex, driven by his subconscious, decides to take matters into his own hands and shoots the robber. Tragically, a bank employee met her death while hiding in a closet. It turns out that he was handed an 8-year prison sentence for the grave accusation of sacrificing innocent life to fulfill his own twisted desires. Furthermore, due to the excessive length of Rex's sentence, Maddie, who had been rescued by him, made the difficult choice to terminate their relationship. She expressed her unwillingness to invest her time in waiting for his release. As Rex awakens, he is horrified to discover that one of them is in the process of amputating his leg. After delivering a powerful kick, he sends the deranged individual running for an anesthetic. Meanwhile, Rex desperately attempts to free himself by using the knife he received from Aaliyah to cut the rope, binding his hands. As he approaches, Rex quickly plunges the knife into his ear canal. After that, he frantically searches for the necessary tools and weapons to make his daring escape. Fortunately, he stumbles upon useful tools and is determined to reach the top, relying on a golf club that is cleverly attached to his leg. Once he successfully escapes the basement, his subconscious urges him to rescue Aaliyah from the house. Rex steps outside the house, his mind consumed by the echoes of his conscience once more. Upon their return from the hospital, the parents were taken aback by the sight of bloodstains adorning the front of their house. Surprisingly, their sons have suddenly woken up from their slumber. Parents gather them and give them a stern scolding for allowing Rex to escape. Concerned about the potential return of Rex and the police, they devise a plan to vacate the premises. However, their scheme appears destined for failure. In a shocking move, Rex emerges from his hiding spot under the table, unleashing a deadly onslaught on each of them with a nail gun. Moments later, after disabling 2 of them, he finds himself in a desperate situation as his nail bullets run out while attempting to shoot the mother. Thinking on his feet, he resorts to using a golf club attached to his amputated leg to deliver a powerful kick to the mother's head. He kills the last one by throwing 2 knives at him. After her mother regains consciousness, Aaliyah takes the life of her and kills her by strangulation. Despite the terrifying ordeal they've been through, their freedom remains elusive as they find themselves confronted by Aaliyah's deranged older brother, a cannibal. Her brother eventually appears, descending the stairs with his big body like a monster. Rex and the cannibal engage in a fierce battle, with Rex ultimately finding himself desperately clinging to the refrigerator door. In a shocking twist, he discovers a horrifying sight: a piece of his own right leg tucked away inside. He quickly delivers a powerful blow to the cannibal by forcefully inserting his right leg into its gaping mouth. In conclusion, Rex and Aaliyah start a new chapter in their lives together in America, and his subconscious decides to leave them alone together. One evening, Rex and Aaliyah are spotted socializing at a location with their friends. However, Aaliyah becomes envious when one of them shows interest in Rex. She fantasizes about eliminating the woman who stirs up her envy. These two match perfectly, as their alter egos are strikingly similar. Meanwhile, in a different location, Ollie, who is now healed from his injury, is determined to seek revenge for the tragic loss of their loved ones. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel.